Hamilton. It does not include Winfield or Ewan or Brilliance. So again, this is basically for the northern half of Marion County, and it's for this storm here that is coming out of northeastern Mississippi. Let's look at the velocity really quick, Evan. We'll take a look at a few of the parameters here. And we're watching this circulation right in through here along Interstate 22 that's off to the southeast of Fulton, Mississippi in Itawamba County. And we have seen this coming and going. It's been cycling. This did produce some storm damage back in the Tupelo area, and it seems like it's getting its act together again. So accordingly, we now have a tornado warning that is in effect for the northern part of Marion County. And let me just give you kind of a call to action here. And we understand we do have warnings to the north. We'll talk about that later. That's up in the Huntsville television market. But for those of you that are in this polygon, the first thing you need to do is respect the polygon. If you're in Hamilton, Hackleburg, Bear Creek, Scottsville, you need to go into a small room on the lowest floor near the center, away from windows. You're going to put on a helmet, a bicycle helmet, a batting helmet, a football helmet, a motorcycle helmet. That's for everybody, not just children. We don't want anybody in a mobile home. And this is where it's so hard. I know this is the second week in a row we've had this in the middle of the night on a Friday night. But if you live in a mobile home, a trailer, you can't stay there if you're in a polygon. You've got to go to a nearby community shelter, or if you don't have one nearby, a business that's open 24/7, whether it's a gas station, a truck stop, a restaurant, anything like that, that could offer shelter. So again, we don't want anybody in a mobile home, and we don't want anybody driving along Interstate 22, U.S. Highway 278, all these major highways up here in northern Marion County. So again, we have a tornado warning that is in effect now for Marion County, in the northern half of the county, until 3 a.m. We have Stephen Quinn, who is in the polygon. Stephen, you're in Hamilton. Tell us what it's like over there right now.
Well, I can tell you that the lightning has picked up significantly over the course of the last 20 minutes, James, as you take a look right now in the direction exactly where the center of that circulation is, about 20 miles beyond the point where we are standing now. And that lightning, as I mentioned, has been significant. We are also starting to hear those tornado sirens, as that polygon does include where we are here in Hamilton, the southern part of that polygon. We have seen police personnel that have been out tonight running what appear to be calls along with ambulances, so you know that those first responders are out there. As we listen to those sirens, we certainly hope that people are heeding the warnings right now. There is still time to get to those safe places, especially, as you mentioned, if you're in one of those manufactured homes. As you see that lightning right now, it is quiet. Wow, we just got a really big burst of lightning right there, showing you how conditions are starting to deteriorate. The wind is fairly calm right now. Obviously, we expect that to change here shortly. But so far it is quiet, and that is the good news. We have not seen a lot of cars driving around. Obviously, it's past 2 o'clock in the morning, but sometimes you do run into that in these situations. So that is good news right now. We're going to have this shot up, though, James, so we'll be able to see this line as it makes its way closer to the state line and where we are here in Hamilton.
All right, Stephen, thank you very much. That's Stephen Quinn, and again, he will be giving us some views of this storm as it comes into Marion County. So let's go back to reflectivity, Evan, and I want to show kind of a big picture and explain the other warnings in effect. Whenever we're live, we have other people that watch in different parts of the state. We have a tornado warning in effect now for parts of Franklin and Colbert counties right here. We have tornado warnings in effect also for parts of central and northeast Mississippi. But again, let's look at this one. This is the one that's north of Hamilton. This is a tornado warning for a fairly small part of Franklin and Colbert counties. And let's take a look at the velocity on this. And again, the rotation seems to have weakened over the past 5 to 10 minutes with this. That's very broad. So at this point, it looks like the tornado maybe has gone into occlusion and it's lifted. But still, again, that polygon stretches over here to Russellville, then back over toward Belgreen. This is Alabama Highway 24 right here. But again, that's up in the Huntsville television market. Just wanted to show that. In the storm up north, this one, Evan, up above the shoals up here, the circulation is weakened, and that is now a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Lauderdale. So the tornado warning for Florence and points north, that's been replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning. So let's go back down to our Marion County storm, and this is the one we'll focus on here. And again, you can see the storm of concern, the rotation of concern is right here, just north of Interstate 22, Nittawamba County, Mississippi, and that will be crossing the state line. That's the Alabama-Mississippi state line. Scottsville here, Hamilton right here. That's Interstate 22 right here. Most likely the circulation could stay a little north of Interstate 22, a little north of Hamilton, but still, if you're in that polygon, anywhere in there, you need to respect that and be in a safe place. And again, Hackleburg is right here, Bear Creek. These are some places that dealt with damage a week ago. And here we are on another Friday night, early Saturday morning with the same situation here. So at 2:02 a.m., a lot of folks are awakened now. Hopefully you have a weather radio in your home, and if you do, that will wake you. But understand, I just want to quickly remind everybody that with some of the legacy systems, you get a warning for an entire county, and we have not issued warnings for an entire county in years. So if you are down here in the southern part of Marion County, you don't need to do anything. Watch it, yes, but for the moment, you're not under a warning. That would include places like Winfield and Ewan. You are not in this polygon. This is for the northern part of Marion County. Brilliant, you're not in this. This is for Hamilton, Hackleburg, Bear Creek, Scottsville, and places like that. So again, we're watching this circulation right here. And let me just say, this system it's been rough today. Now, we don't expect the violent long track tornadoes like we saw yesterday in Arkansas and parts of Tennessee. These are most likely going to be shorter-lived tornadoes. They could be strong. And listen, every tornado is dangerous. If it's an EF0, it's dangerous. So just understand that, but I don't think it will be like what happened in Little Rock or Wynne, Arkansas, where 2 people were killed yesterday. But still, these storms are dangerous, and if you are in a tornado warning polygon, you need to be in a safe place. So again, this is the one warning that is in our television market. To the north, we have severe thunderstorm warnings being issued by the Weather Service in Huntsville for parts of Colbert, Franklin, Lauderdale. That's the new warning. This is going to replace the tornado warning, by the way. So really up here in the Tennessee Valley, this tornado warning being replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning. So basically the one active tornado warning in the whole state right now is this one right here. And again, let's expand this out one more time, Evan. Let's look at what's happening back further to the south and west along this line. We've got a potential tornadic circulation near Houston, Mississippi. And if this holds together, that will be moving into Monroe County, Mississippi. This is Amory. Of course, Amory was hit so hard a week ago with major damage there. And if this thing holds together, that could wind up in Lamar County and maybe in Fayette County. And speaking of Fayette County, Dennis, do we have Megan on the line with us? Scarana. Okay, Megan, if you can, in Fayette County, just kind of give us a quick look at what you got there and what conditions are like now.
James, the newest update from us here in Fayette from about an hour ago is that we did see the first signs of rain tonight. Now, it wasn't too heavy, definitely below severe limits, but it did rain for about 5 minutes here just about a half hour ago now. And it could, of course, be a precursor to what's to come, and we could see these storms roll across the state line, like you just said. But for now, here in downtown Fayette, it's windy, but we really haven't seen anyone out tonight. Hopefully, people are at home and have multiple ways to get those alerts. They're up watching us and have their weather radios ready. But you know, when it does wind here, when it does get a little windy here, you can hear the flags roll against the poles. But other than that, it's still relatively calm, but that's not to say that it couldn't change or change quickly, like you said. And we're ready here to report any damages throughout the rest of the night. People here certainly hoping that it stays, you know, hopefully exactly like it is, just a windy night. But we'll stay updated with you, James, and be ready to respond to anything that you may see. James?
All right, thank you so much, Megan. Again, she is in Fayette, and we've got Stephen Quinn in Hamilton. Stephen, let's go back to Stephen. I understand that you probably got some pretty good lightning on the horizon right now.
You can, and what you are listening to now are the new sirens that are sounding off here in Hamilton, and the lightning is by far the most impressive, and what it also illuminates, James, are the clouds that are now moving, and you get a sense even here in the middle of the night just how quickly this storm is moving and approaching us. Should there be a tornado, I say should, you can see that the lightning will be able to illuminated to where hopefully you would be able to see something. It's so difficult often, as you know, and as we know, seeing these at nighttime to be able to see anything, especially if they're rain wrapped. But that lightning is giving us a good view of the clouds as they are moving through here. As I mentioned, the tornadoes the sirens, I should say, have been sounding here for the better part about 5 or 10 minutes, and we are starting to see some cars moving through. You hope that those are people that are driving to get to their safe space. Certainly they still have a little bit of time to do that, to heed those warnings effectively right now. It is still quiet. The wind is calm right now as we wait for those storms. The circulation, as best I can tell, James, from what I've seen from our maps, is about 15 to 20 miles in that direction where Bill Castle has our camera pointed right now, and that is where we're seeing lightning that is fairly consistent. I mean, about every 5 to 10 seconds you're seeing a flash of lightning there, just showing you just how brilliant the display is from the storm that is headed our way.
All right, Stephen, thank you. We'll check back in with you in just a moment. So the good news, the circulation has really broadened out here. I don't think we have a tornado down at the moment, but understand these are cyclic and it could ramp back up. So again, the news is very positive here in that we've got now very broad circulation that is crossing over into Alabama. It's sitting on the Alabama-Mississippi state line. And this broad circulation most likely will be passing north of Hamilton. But again, everybody in the polygon needs to stay sheltered. A lot of times people hear us say, the circulation has gotten broad and we don't think there's a tornado. No, you stay in that safe place until Evan X's this thing out, until the polygon goes away. And what the Weather Service will do, they'll watch the next several volume scans, and if it continues to look like that, they will cancel it. But again, clearly at the moment, we don't have a tornado down with this storm. We have broad rotation that is in the western part of Marion County. But again, do not change what you're doing. You need to stay sheltered in that safe place. And again, trust me, we've raised 2 boys. I know what it's like with kids, and you got to wake them up and you got to get them in a bathroom or a closet or a hall. I understand it's 2:09 a.m. It's the middle of the night, but it's the right thing to do. I often say this, life is a series of decisions, and you have to make good decisions, especially on a night like tonight. So we have heavy storms coming into the western part of Marion County with very broad circulation at this point. And again, the Weather Service is watching this, and if it continues to weaken, they'll cancel the warning. But for now, we still have a tornado warning in effect for the northern part of Marion County. Let's expand this thing out, Evan, and just kind of show a big view. And the good news, all of these tornado warnings to the north have been canceled. The warning has expired here for Colburn and Franklin. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect up here for parts of Lauderdale, Colbert, Lawrence counties, but not a tornado warning. We do have tornado warnings in parts of northeastern Mississippi for that storm near Houston, moving in the general direction of Amory, and that circulation is fairly broad. And again, we've got the reason we are here, it's the warning in effect for Marion County. So let's go back into Marion County. We'll take a live look at this. Again, the best case scenario is that this thing continues to weaken. So let's look at the velocity display. And that's not exactly a tornado signature here. This is very broad circulation that is well to the northwest of Hamilton, that broad circulation near Scottsville. And again, at the moment, so far so good, but we want you to stay sheltered. I know it's very inconvenient to do that. I understand that, but please just hang tight with us. And the minute that warning goes away, we'll let you know when you can get the kids back into bed and everybody can go back to sleep. And that's the other thing people ask us, do I need to stay up all night? When can I go to bed? Well, if you have a weather radio, you can go to bed anytime you want to, because that sucker will wake you up. Even if you are a very heavy sleeper, that thing is loud. So again, that's why we want everybody to have one. And phones are okay. They're important. They're an important part of the warning process, but at night getting notifications can be kind of tricky. I mean, a lot of people just sleep right through those things on a phone, but you will not sleep through one on a weather radio that's in your bedroom. So the warning is in effect technically until 3 a.m. for the northern part of Marion County, and there's no radar confirmation. Now, again, we had a pretty good debris signature here back off to the west. And Evan, you've heard of any damage over there in Tupelo? Looks like there might have been a little bit over there.
Yeah, it looks like they're just starting to come in and understand, this time of night, it the damage reports are going to be slow. You have emergency managers that'll be out there looking over this, as well as law enforcement. But we'll be looking at that. Also, have noted there's been a few hail reports with this storm going back into Mississippi. But overall, this is one of those events, and James said it very well. When we have these overnight events, they can spike up. They can at times show almost no signs of rotation, which the last about 3 scans here on the radar have shown very poor, very broad shear overall with this system. But in addition to it, as Quinn showed, there's plenty of lightning as well, so these storms can ramp up, diminish quickly. I wanted to also show here for those who are asking, hey, what about the rest of the DMA here? And I'm going to pull up the watch and warning map to give you an idea of who's included in the current watch that we have now. We have Fayette, Lamar, Marion, Winston, Walker, and Cullman County. Those are our central Alabama counties that are included within the tornado watch as it stands now. That goes until 7 a.m. It's not to say that we will have those conditions up until then, but as of now, we have the threat for tornadic activity or tornadoes within storms until 7 o'clock in the morning. The only active tornado warning is the one that's up in Marion County, including the Hamilton area where we've talked with Stephen Quinn. And if you see different colored polygons up at all tonight, if they have a pink outline, that means it's confirmed, either by radar with a tornado debris signature or a trained spotter on the ground. And right now we don't have any of those. We do have a couple of those warnings. Let's look at that storm that's over now in central Mississippi here, Oklahoma south to Houston. What we may see trend-wise moving forward here is these storms cutting off storms to the north as we move forward. We've seen this happen before in scenarios where you have that initial tornado warning and then storms to the south they intensify, and over time what that'll do is cut off the inflow. So we'll keep an eye on that one that's near Houston, Mississippi, as that could really weaken those storms to the north. But diving back into this one and looking at the velocity product here, I'll switch over to that. It looks like we have a new scan in right near the Bexar areas where that rotation was the strongest at one point, but really just not seeing much. Still have a lot of lightning strikes, 70 lightning strikes in the last 10 minutes. That's still pretty significant. So there's more to just a tornado threat with this storm. We can have some active, strong winds with this as well, and it's certainly going to keep you up. But as James mentioned, you have a weather radio. I've yet to be able to sleep through when that thing goes off. I could be upstairs, I could be downstairs, doesn't matter. You hear that go off, and it's going to get your attention. So as long as you have ways to be weather aware tonight, you're in good hands. I'm going to check back with the National Weather Service here, see if there's any reports back in Mississippi.
Yeah, I've been watching the chat, Evan, and it looks like things are kind of quiet right now, which is a good thing. And again, we hope it stays quiet. So again, the Weather Service is maintaining this warning for now. And again, there's a lot of people watching us on their phone, huddled up in a safe place, and in places like Hackleburg and Hamilton and Bear Creek. And we understand that the minute we'll give you an all clear, we'll give you an all clear, but we can't do that yet. This flashing red, that is the tornado warning polygon. And again, we stress, if you're in the southern part of Marion County, Winfield or Guin, you're not involved in this. You don't need to do anything. Watch it, yes, but there's no need to do any action at this point. And also, again, obviously, we don't want folks driving along Interstate 22, this I-22 right here, running over to Mississippi. This is U.S. Highway 278 right here that goes back over toward Winston County. And of course, the good thing about this, it's 2:15 on a Saturday morning, and not a lot of folks are driving. But if you are on the road, and if you're hearing us, whether it's on your phone or through a radio station, just we don't want anybody driving into a tornado warning polygon. Just that is the worst possible place to be as a car. Second worst place to be is a mobile home. And again, for those that have gone to a community shelter, a lot of folks are watching us in those shelters, and we thank you for responding. Alabamians have gotten very good about responding, even when it's inconvenient like this. But again, just hang with us and we'll watch this. But the reason that the warning was issued, it was this segment of the storm right here where there was a tight circulation, and at one point we had debris being lofted. There was a tornado down, but the TDS has gone away, the debris signature, and the circulation is really, really broad in through here. Let's go back to Quinn's camera if we can. We'll just kind of take it, and Bill Castle is showing you the sky that is up in Hamilton, looking back into the storm, looking back to the west-northwest. The lightning is almost constant. And again, the one thing we cannot do is show, and again, there's no tornado now, but if it ramps back up and if we see a tornado signature, we just can't show it to you visually. And we've learned through social science studies that people will respond better if we can show you a live video stream of a tornado, whether it's a dash cam or a camera like Bill's here. But they're going to be rain wrapped tonight if we have tornadoes. And we just can't see them. And you'd have to hope that lightning would illuminate some feature, but even that's very iffy. So that's just almost impossible to do. So you'll have to trust us when it comes to describing these radar signatures and the proper response in a situation like that. But again, that is live coming from Hamilton in Marion County, looking back into the line segment, and they are in the polygon where Bill Castle and Stephen Quinn are located. But these two guys are good. Bill's been doing this with me for a long, long time, and Stephen is an excellent, for a journalist, he knows weather, and he's good, and they're going to stay safe. So let's go back to the radar. It's 2:17 a.m., the insane hour. And by the way, this is April 1. Welcome to the month of April. And we've got very broad rotation. Dennis is saying April Fools. Very broad rotation here that's over Marion County. Let's pop the reflectivity back on, Evan. And again, it's just pouring here. And again, 81 lightning strikes here in the past 10 minutes in this particular view. And the line of storms running from Franklin County, Hodges down into Marion County to the Mississippi state line north and west of Hamilton. And again, at the moment, the circulation is very, very broad. And let's expand it out real quick, and just wanted to show you that this is the only tornado warning in the whole state right now. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for parts of Lawrence, Colbert, Franklin, Lauderdale, and Limestone counties up and through here, but there's no tornado circulation here. And quite frankly, there's no tornado circulation here. It has gone away for now, but the Weather Service is maintaining the tornado warning in case it ramps up. The last thing you want to do is cancel a warning and then reissue it just minutes later if it does cycle back up. So that's the right thing to do, is to stay with it. And they are continuing the warning for now, and we'll see how long they do that. We're also watching this segment back in Mississippi around Houston, back over toward Aberdeen and Amory. That circulation is broad as well, and we're hoping that with time, the tornado threat will continue to fade as the better dynamic forcing passes to the north and the air stabilizes a bit here during the early morning hours. This is when the air tends to be most stable. So let's go back into the storm here that we've got over Marion County, and this is the only tornado warning, the only one we have in our part of Alabama. So let's look at our velocity display, which tells the story. And goodness, I think back in how did we do this before we had Doppler processing? These NexRad Doppler radars came online back in the mid-1990s. It was like going from being blind to be able to see with the wind we can display here. Just imagine if all we had was reflectivity, we could not do this. But obviously, we have just very broad circulation, and there's no evidence of a tornado at the moment. But based on the concept that this might ramp back up, the tornado warning continues for now in effect until 3 a.m. To get your bearing straight, this is Hamilton right here. Hamilton is on the far, far, far southern edge of this polygon. And again, the circulation should be a little bit tighter right in through here. And again, it could be ramping back up. And again, that circulation is going to be crossing US 43, which is right here. This is 43 coming out of Hamilton. Hackleburg is here, goes up to Russellville, which is right up and through here. And again, Bear Creek is here. We had tornado damage at Bear Creek last week, a week ago, and we had a lot of straight line wind damage in parts of Marion County as well. So again, we're watching this little segment right here to see if it kind of ramps back up. Let's go back to Bill's camera, live from Hamilton, looking north into the storm segment. And Dennis, has Stephen got his audio turned on? Can we talk to him? Stephen, tell us what's going on up there.
James, I can hear you.
Go.
Yeah, I don't know if it was an outflow boundary or what it was, but we just got a pretty strong gust of wind. Bill was trying to show you some of the dust and dirt, just to give you a sense of how strong the gust we just got was. In short, the winds are starting to pick up, which goes along with the lightning, which, as you mentioned earlier, has been pretty much constant right now. I mean, this is an amazing light display as we're getting that wind starting to pick up. And based off what we've seen on the reflectivity, James, it looks like that line is now 5 miles or less from where we are in downtown Hamilton right now, as you see the lightning illuminating the storm as it makes its way closer. The wind is picking up, and I mentioned we did see some traffic earlier that had picked up along the roads, and as I mentioned before, you hope that is people getting to their shelters, because now there's just about a few minutes left before this storm makes its way through here. And even if there's not a tornado, it's certainly something that you don't want to be caught in. We've seen numerous instances of trees coming down and what that can do. It was just a week ago where we had a report of at least one person that was driving along these roads that got trapped driving through here because trees can fall down, and it doesn't need to be a tornado to be a dangerous and potentially deadly situation. So you have about 5 minutes left before that arrives to where we are right now. And with the benefit of lightning, you can kind of see the line making its way here. It should not be much longer before we're getting the heavy wind and the significant rain associated with that line coming through here, James.
All right, Stephen, we'll check back with you in just a second here. And again, this is the velocity display here coming off the Columbus Air Force Base radar. And again, you can see evidence of the circulation here. This is passing north of Hamilton. Again, Stephen's camera location is right here looking back into this. And we'll see if this thing tightens back up. And again, the Weather Service has decided to leave this in effect, the tornado warning polygon. So again, Bear Creek, Hackleburg, down to Hamilton, you are in the polygon. Scottsville, you are now out. That circulation is well to the east of you. And I think we can give an all clear now to Interstate 22. If you need to drive along Interstate 22, go for it. This broad circulation is now well to the northeast of Interstate 22 moving away. We do not want anybody on US 43 between Hamilton and Hackleburg over the next 15 minutes. Again, that's probably the main north-south highway through the county here. And again, that would not be a particularly good idea at this point. So we're watching this broad area of rotation that's right here. Just for the fun of it, let's look at the CC to see if we have any lowering here. And we really don't. That's all noise. Nope. So let's go back to reflectivity. And again, it's pouring rain here. 91 lightning strikes. The lightning is almost continuous. And this line is sagging to the south and east. And this is the only tornado warning polygon in the entire state at this point, which is a good thing. And again, this whole line is going to be dropping to the south. And let's expand it out one more time, Evan, to show kind of the extent of the line. It runs from near Ardmore, Elkmont up here on the Tennessee state line down to about Moulton, Russellville, just north and west of Hamilton, then back into Mississippi. And again, some strong storms approaching Amory. Just for the fun of it, let's take a look at this and let's take a look at the velocity over here and see what's happening. This is a storm complex coming into Monroe County, Mississippi. And let's see what this looks like. And yeah, it's fairly broad. The last several scans, and the one thing we've learned in the weather business, you want to have at least two different radar displays in case you've got some pixels displaced or something going on here. And I'm watching different radar displays, and this whole segment has looked pretty noisy here for the past 10 to 15 minutes and very broad. And hopefully this warning will not be extended into Amory. And again, Amory was hit awfully hard, as you know, last week, which is here. And of course, if this thing holds together, of course, the line is going to affect everybody. Everybody's going to deal with the line of storms. We're talking tornadic circulation. That looks awfully noisy here. So let's go back up to Marion County. And again, we are here at 224, not because we're throwing a party. Ivan, we're not throwing a party, are we?
I don't think so.
It's an all-night weather party. How about that?
Yes.
We're here because of the chance of severe weather. And again, we're watching this spot right in through here. This is north of Hamilton, where we have evidence of circulation. And the Weather Service, based on that spot, is going to keep the tornado warning polygon going. And it's clear that this is passing north of Hamilton by about 6 or 7 miles up and through here. It's about to cross over US 43. And most likely this circulation will be passing between Hamilton and Hackleburg. It's going to be closer to Hackleburg and then coming out in the general direction of Bear Creek. And again, we had some pretty meaningful damage from a short-lived tornado up here a week ago. And from there, we'll see what happens. Of course, over here, you've got Haleyville. Haleyville is right here in Winston County. So if you're in Winston, just kind of keep an eye on this. Everybody needs to kind of keep an eye on things. But again, like Evan and I were talking about, if you got a weather radio, you don't need to do that. Just go to sleep. And if there's a warning, trust me, you'll wake up. You will certainly get that. So 2:25, the warning is scheduled to run until 3 a.m., 3 o'clock this morning for the northern part of Marion County, not the southern part. Again, if you're in Winfield or Guin, you're not involved in this. You don't need to do anything. This is for the northern part of Marion County. And well, Evan, it just looks like it's trying. These things have been trying, but it's just not quite got its act together at the moment.
Yeah, trying hard, and following this, we've been watching this since back into Mississippi, James, and they've cycled up, then they've disappeared, cycled up, disappeared, and for the last several radar scans, at least a dozen radar scans, this one's not really shown any signs of spinning up or that there could be rotation within the system. As for damage updates, James, you'd asked earlier, looking back, this has to do with the southern storm. So if I zoom back out here, the one that was for the Houston area, there was a damage report at about 2:15, and that was for some roof damage. That was over near Plantersville, Mississippi. That's in Lee County. No reports with that northern storm that we're currently watching in Marion County, but the storm damage back in Plantersville, Mississippi, some roof damage observed there by law enforcement. But so far, it's been all quiet on the damage front, which you'd expect at this time of night, morning, however you want to quantify 2:37 in the morning. If that's still night for you, great. If that's early morning, then that's early morning. But one thing I have noticed is they have trended back with that storm in Mississippi to a severe thunderstorm warning. Likely because that rotation has become far more broad here. All right, let's do like a quick reset. James had good coverage on that tornado warning. This is a look at the big picture. If you're down in Birmingham, if you're in Tuscaloosa, if you're in Anniston, you're in Gadsden, Aliceville, Demopolis, Centerville, you're probably like, what on earth are you doing on the air? Well, we've got one small corner of the DMA that is under that tornado warning, right? That's the Hamilton area. That's actually really north of Hamilton, but where that polygon is. Everywhere else, we are looking okay as of now. If you're curious, if you're under that watch or warning, here's a look at the active watches and warning. This tornado watch includes Lamar, Walker, Fayette, Marion, Winston, and Coleman counties. Now, effectively, that'll go until 7 o'clock Saturday morning. So for another several hours here, as that line moves very, very slowly, it seems, into our westernmost counties. But that is all that is active as of now. Switch back to reflectivity so you can see here. And overall, this line is going to move in a general southeasterly direction as we move forward. And the reason we are here is this tornado warning up in Marion County. So we'll zoom back in there. We probably have a new radar scan to take a look inside this. I'll go back to our velocity product, and we'll see if anything more promising's come in. And you can see where they've trimmed down that polygon now. So let's see who we can...
And let's mention, Evan, Hamilton is out of the polygon. Okay. So we'd like to give people an all clear. So again, if you're in the city of Hamilton, you are now clearly out of the polygon. The circulation is on US 43 south of Hackleburg. So Hamilton, go back to bed. You're good. The warning has expired. The circulation is on US 43 about 5 miles southwest of Hackleburg here. And again, that'll be moving in the direction of Bear Creek, which is right over here. That's Alabama Highway 13 right here. So let's go back to Stephen Quinn, who is in Hamilton. And Stephen, you got the line of storms getting close, but that rotation is pretty far north of you now. What's the conditions like there now?
Yes, that is good news and a welcome announcement to people here. We are just now starting to get the first few drops of rain where we are. And as I say that, we get one more gust of wind over here. So certainly it appears that the rain that is associated with this is about to start, and we're about to see what this front can bring. And what we know so far from what it's done is that it's going to pack some heavy winds. We've been trying to keep an eye out, James, for a little bit here as we look due north. You could see with the benefit of lightning that line as it moved through. We no longer can see it. It's passed through these trees here as it continues to move. And as I'm talking right now, we're seeing that wind start to pick up. You can actually hear it, and that lets you know kind of what you're dealing with at the moment. But the rain is starting to pick up as well. So here in a moment, if you stay with us, we're going to start to really see what this line can bring. But again, as you said, this is just, heavy wind and rain. The circulation is well to our north, and that is certainly good news because this is an area that did get some damage from wind associated with that storm that ended up causing a tornado to hit over in Bear Creek. As you see the rain picking up, coming down in sheets simply because of the wind that is coming with this as it starts making its way through here, James.
All right, Stephen, thank you. So again, we have circulation that is in Marion County right here, and it's now east of US 43. It's going to pass just south of Hackleburg. And again, from there, it's going to be moving in the direction of Bear Creek. And again, Haleyville in Winston County is located right here. But again, we still want you to be sheltered. I know it's not fun. But again, these are some of the approximate arrival times of the circulation. And again, don't wait until the last minute. Whatever you do, don't go out and look for it. I know there's always some boneheads that want to do that, but listen, if there's a tornado there, you won't see it. Number one, it's dark. Number two, it's rain wrapped. Number three, there's a lot of trees and hills around here. You just can't see anything. So that makes no sense whatsoever. So just stay sheltered. And again, we'll give you an all clear as the polygon continues to be adjusted here. But again, Hamilton, we're giving you an all clear. US 278, you're good to go. You can drive on US 278. You can drive along Interstate 22. Those roads are fine. And really on US 43, you can drive now. The circulation is now east of US 43. Again, the circulation is passing just south of Hackleburg, and again, coming back over here toward Bear Creek. Stay sheltered. I know you went through this same drill a week ago, but you should be good at it by now, and this is nothing unusual for us. This is the 1st of April. Historically in this state, we have wild weather the first week of April. It can be anything from a major snowstorm to a catastrophic flood to tornadoes. And goodness, there comes the rain, Stephen Quinn. Wow, what a difference 1 minute makes. Goodness.
It doesn't take long, does it, James? I mean, it is coming down. This is what you call a gully washer. It is pretty strong, and the winds really make it seem even worse than it is. As you see, this parking lot gives us a good advantage here to show you just how widespread and how quickly the wind can really get this rain going right now. And as you mentioned, it took 30 seconds for this to get started, and it is pouring right now where we are in Hamilton.
All right, Stephen, again, thank you. So that's what it looks like when the line comes through. And again, they are safe down here. They're in Hamilton. Again, the Hamilton is right down there. The broad circulation is right here, just south of Hackleburg. So again, Hackleburg to Bear Creek, down to Bryn, you want to stay sheltered. And if you're in Winston County, just kind of keep an eye on this. And this is the only tornado warning. In fact, let's broaden this thing out again, Evan, and show the reflectivity and look at the whole line. And we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for parts of Limestone, Lauderdale, Colbert, Lawrence, Franklin, Monroe County, Mississippi. But no tornado warnings, none, except for that one that's put us on the air here, that one tornado warning in effect for the northeastern part of Marion County. And understand it, and let me just say this too while we're looking at this. If you're in Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, these bigger population centers, the chance of severe weather is low, not zero, but low. When these storms approach those larger cities later this morning, 4 or 5 o'clock, they will be rapidly weakening, and the chance of severe weather is very minimal at this point. So that's good news. So again, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, most likely you probably won't have any severe weather. The greatest concern, we've talked about this all night, it's up here in this northwestern part of the state where we have the better combination of instability and dynamic support. But the good news, over the next couple of hours, the main dynamic support will be lifting north. The upper winds needed for severe storms will be lifting north of the state. And that should result in a weakening trend, and the air becomes pretty stable toward 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And we hope the weakening trend continues. And there's no doubt there's been weakening over the past 15 to 30 minutes. Again, all those tornado warnings we had earlier, they've gone away except for this one. So let's go back and take a look at it. We'll go back in and focus on the velocity that will kind of tell the story. And we're going to be looking right about here, just south of Hackleburg, again, Hackleburg proper, the high school, the center of town is right there where you see the word Hackleburg. And again, that circulation is maybe 2-3 miles just south of Hackleburg, moving northeast. Any damage reports, Evan? Any news from you over there?
No, not here. The only damage report I had was that storm to the south that was back in central Mississippi. Nothing has come in since then, which is a good thing. Keep in mind, at this time of night, it's not easy to find, one. And two, there's not a lot of people out there. So we may see that in the future. But the fact that there's not consistent damage reports coming in from anyone EMA, any local law enforcement, that is certainly good news. As it stands now, this has been very broad rotation for the last several scans we've had here. When you have those gates, the green and the red, when you see a much tighter coupling when they're very close together. We like green and red for Christmas, not on your Velocity product. You don't want to see that. But it's been fairly broad for the most part. This is now moving towards the Winston County line, and right now there's no tornado warning for Winston County, for anywhere in Winston County. And areas that are in the clear, if you live near Bethany Baptist Church, you're in the clear. Pleasant Ridge in the clear. As James mentioned, Hamilton is currently in the clear. Up next is going to be the Bear Creek area, and that's what we're going to keep an eye on. If they were to extend this, areas involved in this would be Haleyville. That'd be the biggest area added to the current polygon. But the National Weather Service is going to let this one ride out. It looks like at Birmingham, because it has. You know, going back to when this was in Mississippi, it flared up very quickly. This is the same storm that was just to the east of Tupelo, did have a tornado debris signature on it at one point. There's the latest scan, and that actually looks much better as far as that gate-to-gate shear there coming up on, I believe that's Tesner, just to the southeast of Hackleburg. In fact, let's see how close this is to Hackleburg. This is moving away, but the center of this about 3 miles southeast of the Hackleburg area, where we've just started to see a bit of an increase there in that gate-to-gate shear. So again, this might be going through one of its strengthening cycles as it stands now. Show that right there. So coming up between Goddard and Bear Creek, that needs to be the heads up here. I believe this is Highway 13 or State Route 13 there. This is headed in that general direction, and we've seen this flare up and in a matter of minutes wind back down. But no recent damage reports with this as it stands now. Switch over to the CC just to see if there's nothing of measure with this. But if I had to guess, if there's solid circulation with this, it'd be right in here. Draw that for you in just a second. This is where we'd be looking at. And the best way to tell is when you see those brighter greens, brighter reds touching. That's amateur radar work there. If you're looking at home and you have a radar product that is good at following this, that's what you don't want to see is that gate-to-gate. And this is getting a little higher up in the atmosphere now because we are moving away from the Columbus, Mississippi radar. Still have a pretty decent view of this, but that gate-to-gate shear showing up there, this is about 3.5–4 miles to the southeast of Hackleburg as it stands now. No reports with this at this time. I'll go back to the reflectivity because it is a loud night out there, but this is why you don't want to look for that. See, when I switch over to reflectivity, there is no chance at all of seeing this. This is well behind that line of rain within this line. So we'll be following this closely. Let's see here if we get a new radar scan of this shear in here. And this is the one warning we've had pretty consistently. There's not been any other warnings in our DMA. A couple severe thunderstorm warnings to the north, but that's it. And I can zoom out just to give you an idea of what we are looking at here, big picture. There's a severe thunderstorm polygon that's it's well to the north of here. That's for Lawrence as well as Franklin, Colbert counties. This is the lone warning we have here in central Alabama. There's another line of storms coming out of Mississippi that we will keep an eye on here.
Let's go to correlation coefficient. Let's look and see if we have a TDS on this thing, Evan. We're going to, I think now we've got a lowering right here. So now we have a confirmed tornado. So this is now a confirmed tornado. The circulation is tightened back up. About 5 miles southeast of downtown Hackleburg, and that's coming right toward Bear Creek, almost the same path as last week. So again, if you're in Bear Creek, you got to be sheltered. We now have a confirmed tornado. This is debris that is being lofted. What you're seeing here, this is not a hydrometeor. This is not some type of precipitation. This would be tree limbs or tree branches being lofted. And again, that tornado is coming right over here toward Bear Creek. That's Alabama 13. So again, if you're in downtown Hackleburg, we can give you an all clear, as this is now well to the southeast of you, moving away towards the northeast. But Bear Creek is the next concern here. So everybody nobody should be driving along Highway 13. But again, for those of you near Phillips High School around Bear Creek, you've got to be sheltered, okay? And again, in a site-built home, it's a small bathroom, closet, hall, lowest floor, near the center of the house, away from windows, and you're wearing a helmet. Okay, a bicycle helmet is perfect. If you play sports, a batting helmet, a football helmet, a motorcycle helmet. And this is not just for children, this is for adults, this is for everybody. Most people that are seriously injured in tornadoes, it's blunt force trauma above the shoulders. And that greatly mitigates your chance of being seriously injured or killed in a tornado. So helmet, safe place. No trailers, no mobile homes, and I know that is a challenge for all of us. It's easy for me to say that. And you are in a mobile home and you've got to drive to a shelter or drive to some business that's open. But again, it's critical that you do that, and hopefully you did that 30 minutes ago. This warning has been in effect since about 2 o'clock. You've had 40 minutes to get to that safe place. So again, right here, this is your tornado that is down about 6 miles east-southeast of Hackleburg. Again, Hackleburg will give you an all clear, and again, that's coming right up on Bear Creek. So again, this is an urgent call. This is the most significant signature we have seen during this whole event. This thing got very broad, now it's very tight, and it's down again. So a tornado is down, and again, understand that this is coming up on the community of Bear Creek, and of course, if this continues, this might clip the extreme northwestern corner of Winston County, moving up into Lawrence County, which is right here. And again, we do have a tornado warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service in Huntsville. This is for parts of Franklin and Lawrence County for this TDS right here. And again, you can see this is Franklin and this is Lawrence right here. The tornado is right here. That spot right there is going to be coming up right through here, kind of clipping this southeastern corner of Franklin County, coming up into Lawrence County. So again, just be aware of that. We have a tornado warning in effect now for extreme northeastern Marion, extreme southeastern Franklin, and the southern part of Lawrence counties in North Alabama. So again, that is a confirmed tornado right here. And again, the other thing we don't want you to do is to drive. The two worst places to be during a tornado, it's a car or a mobile home. And the main road right here, this is Alabama Highway 13. Phil Campbell here runs down through Bear Creek down to Haleyville, and a lot of people use Highway 13. That's a very well-traveled road, so again, we don't want anybody along Highway 13. And Stephen, yes, in answer to your question, you just texted me, the answer is yes on that. And again, we've also got Megan Scarano, who is farther to the south. She is down in Fayette County. We'll go to her shot there very quickly, and again, they're going to have that line of storms coming in shortly. Let's go back to Bill's camera really quick, and again, this is a look at what's happening in Haleyville. You've just got rain. Hamilton, you're out of the polygon. So if you're in Hamilton, pouring rain, but you're not in the polygon. So let's go back to the radar, and again, we have a confirmed tornado right here. This is a TDS, a tornado debris signature, that is pretty much right on top of Bear Creek. And from Bear Creek, that will be moving into the southeastern corner of Franklin County. The polygon does not include Phil Campbell. And again, we had that horrific EF5 that affected Hackleburg and Phil Campbell in 2011. This is on a path south of there. This tornado passed south of Hackleburg. It's going to pass well south of Phil Campbell. It'll be clipping this corner of Franklin County around Posey Mill, then curving up into Lawrence County, moving up in the general direction of Moulton if it holds together. But again, that's a very, very dangerous storm right here that's right on top of Bear Creek. And you've got to take this seriously. And I know we cannot show you this tornado. Even if I had 8 cameras looking right at this thing, it's rain wrapped, it's at night with all the hills and the trees, you can't see anything. But again, most likely that is a very significant tornado that is down right at Bear Creek. And again, you've got to stay sheltered. Hackleburg, again, you've got an all clear. Hamilton, you've had an all clear. And soon we'll be able to clear the county, but not yet. You've got to stay sheltered. So once again, this is a radar-confirmed tornado. And what they're going to do is issue a tornado warning for the northwestern corner of Winston. All right, so again, Haleyville is here. There's your tornado. And the tornado, it's going to be passing north of Haleyville. I'll just tell you that. You're going to see a new tornado warning polygon pop up here. And notice the shades of pink. That is a radar-confirmed tornado. And so this is your new warning for Winston. And again, this will include Ash Ridge and Haleyville. This is the tornado, and it's moving like that. But again, if you're in the polygon, respect the polygon. And you got to be sheltered, even though most likely this thing is going to be passing north of Haleyville. Haleyville, you're in the polygon. So we want you to go through your tornado plan. And again, the same thing and this is all north of U.S. Highway 278. Double Springs, you're not involved in this. This is a fairly small part of northwest Winston County. This has nothing to do with Double Springs, nothing to do with Lynn or Natural Bridge, those communities in the southern part of Winston County. This is the far northwestern part of Winston County. Evan has the tornado circle right here at Bear Creek. It's crossing Highway 13 right now. Very, very dangerous nighttime tornado. The only tornado in the whole state, thank goodness, but it's down. And again, debris is being lofted right here, lofted up to 10,000 feet, possibly higher. The tornado warning for Winston will be in effect until 3:45. We'll be able to cancel it sooner than that. And so you've got, it's kind of complex here because all these counties come together. This is Franklin, Lawrence, Winston, and Marion. Tornado right here at Bear Creek moving towards the east-northeast that'll be clipping this corner of Winston County. And yes, it's going to pass north of Haleyville, but again, just as a course of least regret. You're in that polygon, you're going to be sheltered. And again, in a site-built house, we're asking people to be in a small room, lowest floor. You don't have to be underground. You do not have to be underground. Survivability, it's amazing in a site-built structure. I'm telling you, you don't have to be underground. Small room, bathroom, hall, closet, lowest floor, near the center of the house. As many walls between you and the outside as you can. No windows, and you're wearing a helmet, okay? And if you're in a mobile home, you've got to be out. You've got to be in a community shelter or some type of business that's open 24/7. Hopefully it's something you thought about earlier today. That's the one thing we recommend that people do. The good news, Evan, it looks like the CC drop is not as intense in the last volume scan here. It's still there, and we've got debris that's being lofted. Let's look at the velocity real quick. And again, it's right here. So again, we've got the velocity couplet. We've still got the lowered CC, but it looks like, Evan, it's not quite as intense as it was.
Not as intense. In fact, I'm going to take this back just a couple of minutes to show the evolution of this and how you can tell the difference. Look when it's right there, about to be over, and then on top of Tesner there, just to the southeast of Hackleburg, where you see those brighter greens and reds. This is when I was talking earlier, and it looked like it was starting to flare up. Moments later, we had that correlation coefficient show up, and that's why we stay with these things. Is even we look at the scan, and James and I could probably sit if we were off camera and be like, oh, there's nothing there for a good 10 minutes. But then they come back up very quickly, and that's exactly what this did. This may have had a path of about 5 to 8 miles where it showed a good signature here over the last 5, 10, 15 minutes. But that is now just to the east of Bear Creek, and the rotation with this not quite as strong as it was just 5 minutes ago, but it is still there. And what these will do is they'll cycle. They'll touch down. They'll weaken, they'll go back up, but the parent storm is still rotating. So you'll get these intermittent touchdowns with this. And that's why we're saying if you're in northern Winston County here to be aware, as this is a confirmed tornado. We noted earlier that we see the flashing red polygons, or you will on your screen at home. That's a tornado warning. When it flashes this pink or this purple, however you want to call it, that's when we know it's confirmed. And we saw that tornado debris signature the last couple of scans. I'm going to go back to that now. This is our correlation coefficient product, and essentially what it shows is things that should not be there, thrown into the atmosphere. There's a new radar scan there just coming in, and the area in question here is coming up on Donaldson Mill. That would be next up there. You've got looks like County Road 54 is up there. Center, Littleville, just to the north of New Place. That's where we're showing that best debris signature. Not as intense as it was the last couple of scans here, but still a very serious tornado. It doesn't matter, the strength or intensity. Once you start to see debris that shouldn't be there lofted, it's a strong storm.
Let's look at WEX 05. We can do that for just a minute. Dennis wanted to show some video. This is coming in from Winston County, really close to Bear Creek, and again, that's looking back into that storm. And again, this is a great example of why you just can't see much. It's kind of like Bill Castle and Stephen Quinn shot. You're going to see a lot of lightning, but this is near the Winston-Marion County line, looking back over toward Bear Creek. In fact, this person, I believe, is just a couple of miles away from Bear Creek, very close to the tornado. And again, that's what you're going to, like I say, there's no need to go outside because that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of lightning, but you just can't see anything back in through there. And again, there's a good chance there's a tornado down very close to this particular location, but we just can't see anything. So let's go back to the radar here. And again, you see the lowering of the correlation coefficient product here, the debris tracker, and that's debris that's being lofted. And again, for Bear Creek, we can give you an all clear. So again, Bear Creek, all clear. This thing is right on the Winston-Marion County line, and again, it's going to be passing north of Haleyville. Haleyville is right here, tornado here. This is moving towards the east-northeast, and again, the community of Littleville right here, Martintown right here. This is all in Winston County, the northwest corner of Winston County. And from there, it's most likely going to wind up in Lawrence County. And again, if you're in Franklin, I think this will pass to the south of you. The Weather Service in Huntsville issuing that small segment in Franklin County. But again, it's pretty clear this is going to be passing on down to the south of there in northwestern Winston before getting up into Lawrence. And again, the new volume scan, and again, this is getting broad, and or the correlation coefficient drop is not as intense. Let's look at the velocity. And again, this will tell another story. We have a suite of products. And again, there's your couplet right here. This is passing about 6 to 7 miles due north of downtown Haleyville. And again, Haleyville, I know you're in the polygon. We'll give you an all clear in a matter of minutes. And that circulation is going to be ultimately coming out here, passing north of Ash Ridge. Ash Ridge is right here. All of this is far, far north of Double Springs. I want to stress, if you're in Double Springs, you've got no problems here. Double Springs is down here. US 278 is down here. Tornadic circulation here, moving like that. And again, that'll be clipping the southern part of Lawrence County. And most likely, this is going to stay south of Moulton. Moulton up here is the county seat of Lawrence County. But again, you can see that just very small polygon for the extreme northern part of Winston County. The community of Moreland right here is in the polygon, but this is north of Double Springs. So again, circulation right here moving towards the east-northeast. All right, and again, we've got tornado warnings in effect for northern Winston, southern Lawrence, and we can give Marion County an all clear. All of Marion County, all clear. I know that technically you're seeing the pink box here flashing, but the storm is out of the county. So again, Marion County, you are good at this point. And let's go back to our debris tracker, the correlation coefficient product. And again, we'll watch for the lowering, which is going to be right here. It looked really intense about 10 minutes ago. And it's getting noisier, and hopefully it just goes away. And again, like we've talked about with time, these storms will be weakening this morning as the dynamic support, the wind energy you need for tornadoes, begins to lift away from the deep south and moves up toward the Great Lakes, and the air becomes a bit more stable. New volume scan, and again, there's a bit of a lowering right here. Let's look at the velocity on the new volume scan, see what that looks like. And again, the circulation is clearly getting pretty broad in through here. But still, be sheltered, okay? And again, Marion County, all clear. You're good. The circulation is here. And again, Haleyville, give me about 2 minutes. We'll give you an all clear. 2 minutes, just hang tight. We'll give you an all clear in just a second. And from here, it most likely will be hugging the county line between Lawrence County and Winston County. And again, Ash Ridge is here. Moulton is way up here. Moulton's not in this polygon at this point. And again, if it holds together, it's going to stay south of Moulton. And we'll just see. We're not expecting long track tornadoes at this hour of the day, even with these circumstances. Yes, at one point we had the possibility of strong tornadoes. That's EF2 or higher by definition. But now with the dynamics beginning to lift away, the instability values steady or lowering, I think that really eliminates the chance of that. So tornadoes that form most likely would be short-lived this morning and not the violent long track tornadoes like we saw in Arkansas yesterday. We had loss of life in Wynne, Arkansas. 2 people died there. We had severe damage in parts of West and North Little Rock. Parts of Tennessee had some major damage. It's been a pretty rough ride here. And again, we've just got this one spot. There's no other place in Alabama with tornado warnings at this point. It's this one spot. And the TDS has pretty much gone away. The circulation passed pretty close to the airport. The Haleyville Airport is north of town, Posey Field, and it's passed pretty close to the airport. And again, we'll check the observations coming out of Posey Field, but you can see that tornado, Evan, I think it's gone for now. It might cycle back up, but it looks like it's gone for now.
It does, and this is a Taylor special 100%, but we can put a big old X.
I like it.
Over the remains of that one.
It's a good X.
It is canceled. Yeah. I hope I do her justice with that X there. But I will say this, just to echo what you were saying, James, is that moments before this spiked up, it looked like absolutely nothing. Broad circulation in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and then boom, just like that, it touched down on a path that began near the Tesner area and went just to the east of Bear Creek. And what we're looking at now is this storm is literally hugging about 3 county lines: Winston, Morgan and Lawrence County as this moves off to the general northwest and will likely move into the Huntsville market here in no time. I want to go back to the CC here and zoom on in. Is there's really no clear, I couldn't really pick out, maybe right in here about a mile or two to the east of center, we could be talking about a little bit of a lowering, but overall, this certainly does not have the signature it did a few minutes ago. Haven't seen any damage reports just yet here. Of course, got the, it looks like the National Weather Service confirming that circulation was really intense. TDS near Posey Field. So we'll see if there's any reports from over there, but it has gone away. So that says that this storm has lifted once again, and that's what they'll do. They'll peak up in intensity, they'll touch down, and then they'll dissipate. So this storm continuing.
Evan, let's go to Stephen. He's on the way to Bear Creek, and he's got some damage reports. Stephen, go ahead. Okay, we don't. Okay, sorry, I thought he was up. I think they might not have cell service where they are. But Stephen does have some damage reports, and we're getting. All right, Stephen, try it again. Let's see if we got you now. Go.
James, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Just wanted to let you know that. We got off the phone with the Marion County EMA. They do say that they have first responders that are headed towards Highway 253. They have had reports of some structural damage there. Now, I stress, I don't know how significant the damage is there, but that's an area where they are looking at right now, associated with that storm that moved through, that has moved into Winston County. But that's one of the areas they're looking at right now. We're headed towards Bear Creek, as you mentioned, now to make sure.
Okay, and again, the cell service is really spotty in through there, and we got the fact that apparently there's been some structural damage. Got a report of power out on Highway 13 between Haleyville and Bear Creek, which would make sense. And again, there's no doubt there was a tornado down. We saw the debris being lofted. There's no doubt that when dual polarization radar came online, we didn't think this product would be that good. It's that good. So we know that it was down, and you always hope that it's in a wooded area where nobody lives and there's no structures, but it sounds like there's been some structural damage in Marion County from that tornado. But again, the good news, the tornadic circulation is just basically non-existent at this point. We've got very broad rotation of the community of Rabbittown north of Ash Ridge. This is in northern Winston County. And again, let's pop on the reflectivity and just kind of show a big picture, kind of do a reset. Evan, again, you can see this line segment, and this is the only tornado warning, and I think in the whole country right now. It's for this circulation that is in extreme northern Winston. It's kind of hugging the Winston-Lawrence County line. The line runs from near Elkmont in Limestone County down to, again, southern Lawrence, south of Moulton, near Haleyville, then back into northern Lamar near Sulligent. And we do have severe thunderstorm warnings that have been posted now for Lamar, southern Marion, and northwestern Fayette counties. This is not a tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for the possibility of strong straight line winds as this line comes through here. So again, the latest warnings for our market here, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for the northern two-thirds of Lamar, extreme southern Marion, northwestern Fayette counties for this segment of the line that might produce some strong winds as it comes on through. There are no warnings up in the Tennessee Valley at this point. And again, the reason we're here, it's all of these flashing pink polygons, and this is just for one circulation. I know you see a lot of different polygons, but where a lot of county lines are merging and Weather Service county warning areas are coming together. But let's go back into northern Winston, and Haleyville will give you an all clear. Okay, if you're in Haleyville, you're good. All clear as this broad circulation is just north of Ash Ridge right here. And again, it's just kind of scooting right across the far, far northern part of Winston County. All right, and again, I don't think we have a tornado down, but this thing has had a history of being cyclic. We have an occlusion process, the tornado goes away. It gets on the ground again, and we've seen that with this. It has been cyclic, and it might recycle again. So again, if you're in this polygon, you stay sheltered. And I know the last thing you want to do is to be sitting in a bathtub with a bunch of kids and dogs and cats and hamsters and everything else, in the middle of the night, but it's the right thing to do. And all you can do is have fun with it. Look, there's no school tomorrow, all right? It's a Saturday morning. If this were a school morning, it would be a little more challenging, but to just have some fun with it, and we'll get through this together. This is part of living in Alabama in April. These things happen on a regular basis. So very broad rotation that is over northern Winston. And from Ash Ridge west, we'll give you an all clear from the tornado danger here. Again, the community of Grayson is here. The community of Moreland is here. And again, this is all in northern Winston County. This is Lawrence County here. Until that goes away, until Evan draws that X, you need to stay sheltered. And again, we've had reports of some damage with this over in Marion. And we have Stephen Quinn and Bill Castle, and they are in the process of getting into that damaged area. But it's good to see a lot of response. Show one image here. Hang on. Yeah, let's take this image. This was taken in the community shelter in Haleyville, Evan. Got your dog going on in there. Got your dog, and everybody's safe. You know, it
can be a big party.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do is just have a little fun with it. But again, that's looking at the shelter that is in Haleyville. And a lot of folks are there, and that's great. I'm glad to see the good response. And by the way, a lot of kids are wearing helmets. I like that. That's a good look. That's a good-looking helmet right there. That was taken up in Hamilton, so great to see the response. And again, this is what that storm looked like that was over Marion County with a tornado down from near the Winston County line, real close to Bear Creek, kind of looking back into it. And again, we just can't show you video of these tornadoes at night. They're rain-wrapped. And even with the lightning display like that, you just can't see it. But we do believe a rain-wrapped tornado did get down in parts of Marion County and did produce some damage at this point. And again, Bill and Stephen are on the way up there. So let's go back to the radar. It's now 3 o'clock. And again, you can see we've got this segment of Winston County has been taken out. So again, Haleyville, all clear. Haleyville, you're good. And again, this is it. You're one and done. Once this line moves through and out, there's no more severe weather. This will not be like last weekend. You know, we had the all-nighter Friday night, had an all-nighter Saturday night with those hailers that came through central Alabama, and then Sunday night we had tornadoes. So it will not be like this. Once this line gets out of here, that's it. So again, this is the velocity display. We're looking at northern Winston, and there's just not a tornado down at this point. Could it recycle? Yes. Could it get down again? Yes. And that's the reason that warning is there. The warning for northern Winston is in effect until 3:45. And again, it will be canceled before that because the storm, this segment will be out of the county before 3:45. And again, just a very small part of southern Lawrence in a tornado warning for this same broad circulation kind of hugging the line. This is the line right here. Lawrence here, Winston here. And really the circulation has been moving almost due east. There's not much of a northward component here with this. And again, that broad circulation from here could possibly wind up over in Cullman or Morgan. But again, right now it's just not looking impressive at all. Any other word from you on damage, Evan?
No, nothing yet. I do think Stephen Quinn is headed in the right direction based on that tornado debris signature. Anywhere near Bear Creek, if there was, a spot to look for damage, it'd be in that vicinity here as we move forward. And this is probably about as broad as we've seen the circulation. James did mention something earlier, though. It is an advantage to have multiple radars. So we've been looking at the Columbus radar, switching over to the Huntsville one, and there's really nothing. It doesn't look any better on the Huntsville radar, and we could even look at this one on the Birmingham radar, and there's nothing concrete, nothing that says, okay, this storm is intensifying. It's rotating well. It could form a tornado here in the short term. So that is the good news as it stands now. I wanted to give you an update here on the big picture if I go back to the reflectivity, because this will be an ongoing line that will eventually impact some of these places like Fayette, like Jasper, eventually Birmingham, as well as Tuscaloosa. But it could be another couple of hours as this line progresses to the south and east. And one thing to note here, the tornado threat, that low-level jet, the dynamics that make for a tornado or a tornadoes favorable in an overall environment, that's moving well to the north. So that is good news. It's also overnight, so we don't have the sun aiding in additional fuel. You know, heat is fuel for these storms. Fuel, that's when we talk about instability, that's how much energy is available in the atmosphere. atmosphere, and as we go through the overnight, there's generally a weakening trend as we move forward. We note the severe thunderstorm warning that is in place here. It includes areas like Ewan, Sulligent, Vernon, the Fayette area where our Megan Scarano is, I believe, currently brilliant, and all of this along the line is for gusty winds. If I switch on the velocity product here, there's really nothing of concern as far as a rotational standpoint. Haven't seen any reports yet of any hail with this. The radar signatures don't lead me to believe that that is a ongoing frequent issue with this, but it's something we'll be watching, and I think this could be very telling as to what this line evolves into overnight. Is more of an elongated squall line with embedded gusts that are off and on, can pulse up to maybe 58, 60 miles an hour here moving forward through the overnight hours. Plenty of lightning, though. This will wake you up. If you're a light sleeper like me, when it comes to weather, since being a kid, like when the lightning, the thunder pops, can't get any sleep anyway. I'm glued to the radar looking at it, and as of now, that looks to be one of the big byproducts with this line. But back to the west, you're all clear. Emory, Mississippi, 30 minutes ago, we were talking about, right in the thick of things. Now that place is all clear over Mississippi. Looking back into Monroe and Lowndes County, where these storms are still coming out, there's been no signs of any rotation along this line. And looking at radar trends, I really believe that the behavior of the storms on the radar is very telling as to what they're going to do. And over the last 30 minutes or so, there's been nothing back in Mississippi that's shown rotation or any structure that's tornadic in nature.
Hey, let's take WEXO 5 real quick. Look at this packed shelter. Wow. Let's give them a shout out, Evan. That's in Haleyville.
I love that.
That's the one by the McDonald's. Great to see that big crowd here. And this is some video earlier taken from Bear Creek. Is that tornado was coming through nearby. And again, we're not going to be able to see a lot here, but you get the idea of the type of lightning display. Again, this is more video coming from Bear Creek. This was taken from the Bobby Bishop Community Storm Shelter in Bear Creek. And again, you can see just the constant lightning display there. So again, lightning has been the story in terms of seeing anything tonight. But let's go back to the radar here. It's 3:07. I'm James Spann with Evan Chickvera. And let's just say Taylor is, she is not available tonight. She's doing just fine. A lot of people have been asking, where's Taylor? She's doing just fine. She had a scheduled outage, if you will, and she will be back Monday, but she's doing fine. She's up monitoring all this as well. But again, we have, let's look at our severe thunderstorm warnings here, the downstream warnings, Evan, these new severe thunderstorm warnings. This is for northern Cullman and southern Morgan. So the Weather Service in Huntsville, they are replacing the tornado warning with a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southeastern Lawrence, southern Morgan, and northern Cullman. Now, our friends in Hartselle got hit by a tornado last week. And I know that you're nervously watching this. I totally understand that. But again, the warning, it is a severe thunderstorm warning for gusty winds, straight line winds, not tornadic winds, and that there's no tornado signature here right now. It's just not there. So again, the warning, it's for about the southern half of Morgan County. And again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. And in terms of Cullman County, this is north of Cullman. This includes Vinemont, up here toward West Point and Battleground in Cullman County. You're in the severe thunderstorm warning. So just be aware that you could see some fairly strong gusty winds coming through, but the tornado signature is just basically gone away. It's not there right now. Could it recycle? Yes. I'd say the odds of that happening are fairly low. We're optimistic this might be the last tornado warning of the morning, but I sure can't guarantee that. We might have others, but it looks like the way things are going, storms are becoming a little more behaved, the lightning output decreasing a little bit, the cloud tops are warming a little bit, the dynamics lifting north, the air a little more stable. That typically means the weakening trend will continue through the early morning hours. And again, here's the reflectivity, and you can see the line running from now just west of Huntsville right down through Priceville. I was at Priceville Elementary School this week on Monday, had a great time. Morgan County is a great place to be. That line coming through Hartselle, and again, I know that a lot of folks here are, that dealt with the damage last week. This makes you nervous. It makes me nervous if the same thing would happen to me, but just be confident that we have no tornado signature here, none. So again, the warning is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And over here in Lawrence is pouring, just pouring from Moulton south down into northern Winston County. But again, that circulation has really gotten broad. Now let's keep expanding this out. Let's look down farther down the line. And again, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here for parts of Lamar. This is for the northern 2/3 of Lamar, southern Marion, and northwestern Fayette counties for this segment of the line. And again, the concern, it's strong straight line winds, not tornadic type winds. So severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for southern Marion, northwestern Fayette, the northern 2/3 of Lamar County as this line drops on down to the south. And again, as these come into Tuscaloosa and Birmingham and Anniston and Gadsden later this morning, we think the chance of severe weather is very low. Not zero, but very low, which is a good thing for those population centers. So technically this warning stays in effect. So let's go back into Winston County. We'll just take a closer look at this. And again, this is an area of very broad circulation. And I think we can X this thing out, can't we, Evan? I'm pretty sure we can over here.
We can indeed.
Yeah, so we're going to X this out. So again, Ash Ridge, you're good. We've got just this very small segment here of Winston County under a tornado warning. And quite frankly, there's just no tornado here at this point. But still, if you're in that small area near Grayson, up in the northern part of Winston, this is Alabama Highway 33, by the way, coming out of Double Springs, coming up toward Moulton. Just stay sheltered for a few more minutes, and I think that will be going away sooner than later. And it looks like, yeah, they're going to cancel Winston here in just a minute. The Weather Service in Birmingham, they're about to clear Winston out of this tornado warning polygon because there's no tornado here. And they're discussing a new severe weather watch with a storm prediction center that could extend a little farther to the south. We'll see what they do with that. But again, our friends at Birmingham, they are coordinating some type of new severe weather watch with the SPC. Let's look at our current tornado watch real quick, Evan. The current watch we have runs through 7 a.m. And you can see that it includes Lamar, Fayette, Walker, Cullman, Marshall, and DeKalb counties. And the question is, will they extend this farther to the south? And again, I firmly believe the risk of severe weather down to Interstate 20 is pretty low, but they might extend it down to the south. We'll see what happens here in a few minutes. But again, that's your current watch. The counties here in yellow, that would be Lamar, Fayette, Winston, Marion, Walker, Cullman, Marshall, DeKalb, and counties north up to the Tennessee state line. That's the current watch until 7 o'clock. So let's go back to the radar and let's do a big picture, if you will, to kind of give you a reset. And we'll kind of leave this same view on here so you can kind of see the storms in relation to Birmingham and Tuscaloosa and Anniston. There's your line right here from near Sulligent to about Winfield, up to about south of Moulton, back up toward Hartselle. And the tornado warning for Winston is about to expire. There's no tornado evident there. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for northern Cullman, southern Morgan, for the northern 2/3 of Lamar, northwestern Fayette, and southern Marion for this line that's coming through. But Evan, it looks like in Mississippi it's pretty quiet over there with storms, right?
Yeah, very quiet. And that's what we've been looking at leading up to these storms moving into Alabama. We were watching what was happening back in Mississippi, right? We like to see the behavior, if you will, of these thunderstorms, because based on the past, what characteristics they've had, that helps us determine, okay, what's it going to do when it gets into our counties, our DMA. And as it stands now, there's not any active warnings back into Mississippi, which is a great sign. And we expected to see an overall weakening, and certainly could we still see an increase in the intensity of this line? Sure. But what I think we'll trend more to seeing is smaller embedded gusty wind threats, and haven't really seen much of a hail threat at this point. So that is good. But look at this line that extends, as we mentioned, from Lamar County back into Lowndes County, Mississippi, Itawamba, Oktibbeha County, and then back towards that I-55 corridor, moving off in a pretty good easterly motion with a little bit of a southerly trajectory. That's why our time tables for this have been so wonky, is because they're moving so much in a west to east orientation, and that southerly component is not happening as quickly here. So again, looking at the big picture of the DMA, going to be a loud passage as this line goes through. Last 10 minutes everywhere on this map, 350 lightning strikes here. So that's not a quiet overnight. It's not a quiet morning. But as it stands now, it looks like we just have those two severe thunderstorm warnings that are left, northern Cullman County, as well as parts of Marion, Lamar, and Fayette counties over near Hamilton.
I want to look at Madison real quick. Let's look at, a lot of people watch us, Evan, from different parts of Alabama. We just wanted to show this warning very quickly. This is not including Huntsville. A lot of people saw a tornado warning for Madison County. Just wanted to clarify that. This is for a storm that is basically hugging the line. Let's flip over to High Top. It'll give us a closer look at this, the High Top radar in Jackson County. And let's look at the velocity. This is for a possible circulation near Hazel Green. You can see it right there. It's on the Tennessee state line. So again, this is a tornado warning in effect for extreme northern Madison. This is for folks near the Tennessee state line. This has nothing to do with Huntsville. Just wanted to make that perfectly clear. If you're in Madison or Huntsville, Monrovia, any of those places like that, this is far north of you. This is a possible tornadic circulation that crossed Highway 231, US 231, and that's in the process of moving over into Tennessee up here. So just I wanted to show that. And a lot of folks were asking questions about Huntsville and tornadoes. This polygon does not include the city of Huntsville, not even close. And again, that circulation is basically moving into Tennessee up here, out of Alabama. So Hazel Green, all clear. And again, this is basically an all clear for Madison County. So let's go back to Winston and Cullman and Morgan down here. And we'll take a look at what's going on here. And again, there's no tornado signature here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. So we'll pop on the reflectivity. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for the possibility of strong straight line winds. And the polygon is as far north as Hartselle, as far south as the northern part of the city limits of Cullman, down toward the Cullman Regional Medical Center. That's Highway 157 right here. And 157 here, there's West Point, Battleground is right here, Massey is here, Danville. So again, southern Morgan, northern Cullman, and the southeastern part of Lawrence. That is a severe thunderstorm warning, no tornado warning. And we still have that flashing tornado warning polygon for Winston. That's in the process of being canceled. But again, it's interesting to note with that storm up in Madison, the Weather Service in Huntsville telling us they've got a TDS to 10,000 feet with that. And again, it's moving into Tennessee, that's the one we showed you earlier. And the Weather Service has officially canceled that warning. So X that thing out, Evan.
All right, let's get that out of here.
Get it out of here. So we have no tornado warnings in the state. The Madison County storm has crossed into Tennessee. The warning for Winston has been canceled. So at this moment, as of 3:17 a.m., we have no tornado warnings for Alabama. So let's bump it up a little bit, move it farther north. We can see that full line here. Just kind of show the broad position of this line. Again, the warning is in effect for Tennessee here, north of Huntsville, north of Madison County. But the line stretches from Huntsville down to Hartselle and Faultville, then down just north of Smith Lake into Winston County, then curves into Marion County and Winston County. And that's High Top. Let's pop over to Birmingham real quick, take a look at that view from BMX with this. And again, gives a little better view of these storms over here in West Alabama. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for parts of southern Marion, northwestern Fayette, the northern two-thirds of Lamar for this line segment here that could produce strong straight line winds. So again, the severe thunderstorm warnings are for parts of southeastern Lawrence, southern Morgan, northern Cullman, southern Marion, northwestern Fayette, the northern two-thirds of Lamar. All severe thunderstorm warnings. So can we take Stephen's live shot, Dennis? It looks like he's got some damage. Let's see if we can bring in Stephen Quinn. Stephen, I've seen some damage coming from your shots. What do you have up there?
First off, can you hear us, James, real quick?
Yes, sir. You're loud and clear.
I'm not sure if you're able to hear us.
Yeah, you're loud and clear. I see my man Bill out there. You're good.
We're kind of surveying right now. There does appear to have been some sort of damage where we are right now. Here in the northern part, we are along what's called Chalk Mine Road. This is right near the Fairview Cemetery here. We are outside of Hackleburg on our way to Bear Creek when we ran into this. There are power lines down here and some trees that appear to be down on a camper over here. I'm going to slide this around so you can see real quick. And frankly, we are, let me shine a flashlight over this way so you can see what we're dealing with. And you can see there's some damage and some people trying to clear out here. That's really the extent of what I know what we have right now, James. We're trying to get some more, and if you've seen some of the images I've shown you on social media on our way up here, we did see at least one one tree that was down along Highway 43, And as we told you right before cell service cut out, we do have reports of some level of structural damage along State Highway 253. That's the road that runs north and south up towards Hackleburg, which would be consistent of whatever this was that may have cut diagonally this way. So Bill's coming back here now. We're going to see what it looks like or what kind of damage we're dealing with. But it does appear that there was something associated with that line, and this is consistent with where you guys reported starting to see some of that drop and the debris being lofted. It was probably what we're looking at right here, James.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Again, we'll check back with you. That's some damage up in Marion County. Let's pop on this new tornado watch. Evan, want to see what this looks like. The new tornado watch has been issued, the one that was being coordinated a few minutes ago. And so they're going to drop it all the way down into almost Montgomery. And again, this is a lower end threat, but I guess considering what this thing has done, out of respect for that, they just wanted to cover everything. So again, this is a tornado watch until 8 o'clock this morning for all of these counties you see here in yellow. And the southernmost counties would be Chambers, Tallapoosa, Elmore, Autauga, Dallas, Marengo, and Sumter. Counties north, okay? So this does include Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden. A lot of people, their weather radios have just sounded. You're turning on the television, and here we are. We've been here working a potential tornado situation in parts of northwest Alabama. But again, this is a new tornado watch for much of central Alabama in effect until 8 o'clock this morning. And again, this would include Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, Clanton, Alexander City, Brent, Greensboro, Utah, Rockford, Ashland, Lineville, Utah, York, Livingston, Demopolis, places like that, all the way down to Chambers, Tallapoosa, I'm sorry, not Chambers, but Roanoke here, Randolph County, Tallapoosa, Elmore, Autauga, Dallas, Marengo, and Sumter. So, new tornado watch until 8. I honestly don't think we have that many problems for the rest of the morning, but as always, be weather aware. And for those that have been up with us all night, if you got that weather radio, go to sleep. If there's a warning, that thing will wake you up. But if you don't, on your phone, be sure that the do not disturb is not active. You want that disabled so you can receive the notifications, those wireless emergency alerts, and the sleep mode and all that. Just try and disable all that so you can hear the notifications if you by chance get a warning. I honestly don't think we have that many warnings to go this morning, but again, our friends out in Norman at the Storm Prediction Center, they believe it warrants a tornado watch. So we have a tornado watch until 8 o'clock deep down into central Alabama. And again, you can see our warnings up here. We have no tornado warnings. Zero. None. Evan?
It looks like we do have one now. They've issued, I believe, for the for that same severe thunderstorm warning we had earlier. If we want to switch back, we could zoom in on that one for, it looks like Morgan County. It's out of our DMA.
Okay,
but,
yeah, Huntsville, yeah. Okay, so you're correct. So the Weather Service in Huntsville has issued a tornado warning for Morgan. So let's go in. This is for Marshall and Morgan. So let's go back to the radar and let's take a look at this. And again, a lot of folks, in the middle of the night here, a lot of people are watching these streams. And in the digital world, there's no such thing as TV markets. So let's look at HTX coming from High Top, and we'll take a closer look at this. First off, concerning those who are in the polygon, that would be Hartselle, Falkville, which is right here. This is Interstate 65, US 31 right here. And then over into extreme western Morgan County, the community of Ruth is right here. Ruth took that horrible hit back April 27th, 2011. So southern Morgan and the extreme western part of Marshall County. This is US 231 right here. And they're looking at this circulation right here. And again, so most likely this passes pretty far south of Hartselle, but yet you are in the polygon, and so respect the polygon and be in a safe place. But again, Hartselle down to the Cullman County line. And again, we stress this does not include any part of Cullman County. This is exclusively in Morgan County. And again, for the circulation you see right here, that'll be crossing US 31 and I-65. And obviously, I-65 is a very heavily traveled road, and we don't want anybody driving along Interstate 65 at this point from Hartselle down to Lacon here. And the same thing for US 31. So if by chance you're listening to us by radio or on your phone, and if you're coming from, say, like Decatur south, just stop and preferably find some joint that's open, get you a donut or coffee or something, And the same thing if you're coming north out of Cullman County. Just stop down in Cullman and wait this thing out. It's not really a classic tornado signature here, but evident looks like they believed it was enough to pull the trigger on the warning there.
Yeah, and this is the one, James, that we had tracked back through Winston and Marion County that had shown signs of rotation. And I believe that's probably why they went ahead and issued it, because of the history of it, because it still is very broad rotation as we see now. But right over the Falkville area, I'll circle where I could best find that rotation here. If you're just now joining us, we've been on the air for a little while now, mainly for this storm that had a pretty good TDS back towards Bear Creek in Marion County, same spot that was hit exactly a week ago. So this is in Falkville. This is just north of Cullman County, and that would be where the circulation is best organized. Again, there's likely not a tornado down with this. We don't have a signature on it at the moment, but this is the only tornado warning in Alabama. Everywhere else has been severe thunderstorm warnings, which it does appear it's going to trend that way. So if you're just now waking up and joining us, you're like, uh-oh, what are we looking at here? Right now we have a tornado watch, as James was talking about here. I'll switch over to that if you just woke up like my wife did because the weather radio went off, it's because a tornado watch has been issued for essentially all of central Alabama. If you are in the yellow outline